Hello, welcome back. I hope I didn't scare anybody away after the first week of trying to get acclimated. You didn't have all that many questions though. That I'm maybe we're getting more people with more experience in online education. That's very likely. Excuse me. It's been a long day. It's evening now here. And I just want to make sure that right off the bat Monday morning that you would know what you were doing. So let's go ahead and hop over into the syllabus. And I like to pull that up just so we all have the same thing in front of us. And I'll make my screen a little bit bigger here in a second. Okay, here we are. Move my head. Woo! That was a fun ride. Okay, we're August 25th to September 2nd. So you're going to have Labor Day mixed in here. We're going to start our summary response unit. And basically, I want you to think of this as we start this unit. I want you to think of looking for they say and I say. This is built into the reading. An author will say something, but he or she will also say they say, and then the author themselves will have himself or herself will have an I say. There's often lots of different strings of arguments going on in one piece of writing. Again, everything contains some level of argument. Even narrative has a sense of argument. They're trying to convince you of character qualities of a character or events. They're trying to show you truth through the lens of a certain character, and so that way we're seeing argument. I'm going to pause a moment and shut my basement door because my kids are way loud. Okay, so we were just talking about they say, I say. It's craziness in my basement right now, just saying. I'm going to hide under my computer after I'm done with this. Is that okay? It's good parenting, right? Okay, just kidding. I'm going to make them supper, I promise. All right, so basically how we're going to get the summary response accomplished is we're going to start by just doing some practice activities. So those of you who are like all ready to go with papers, we don't have those yet. We're not going to have a paper for 2 more weeks. So this week is all practice. Hear me out on this. This week is just practice activities. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a discussion board response to articles that are posted in our classroom content. I'll show you those in a second. And you're going to send me a copy of your discussions because of the way that I do the grading. So thank you for that, accommodating my needs there. You're going to, again, be reading some articles and responding to them, and then responding to others. See, there's that summary response about those articles. You can argue against the articles, you can agree with them, because that's the thing, when you have a they say, I say, you can do 3 different things. We talked about this a little bit last week. We have I agree, I disagree, and then we can agree to a degree or disagree with exception, right? So these are some of the options we have, and they're not like really argumentative. They're not like persuasive articles in nature, but they're going to put some things out there and say that this is true, and you have to decide for yourself whether or not you agree. So no right or wrong answers, just answer. In the Erin text, here are some concepts that are being covered through these articles. Through this exercise, mostly in dealing with the next activity, which is the thesis worksheet. Again, anytime it's an Erin text, you can skim and scan. We're looking at, I believe, edition, is it 7 or 8? I hope I'm not confusing things worse. If the page numbers aren't working for you, please let me know. Okay, the thesis worksheet is, again, a practice worksheet. What should you use for your topic for this worksheet? You may absolutely use anything from these articles, or you may even take a topic from the reflection activity above. This is not going to work into a paper yet. These are just practice activities. These are basically the nuts and bolts that we need for the course. For those of you who are really excited about getting going on papers, if you notice, our summary response unit is 3 weeks long because I really want to lay the foundation. Every paper we do is going to have some sense of summary and response in this course. So every paper we do, you're going to have to be able to use some of these things. It won't be all summary response papers per se, but there's going to be elements of using your summary skills and your responding skills. So that's why we're spending so much time on this. Let's go ahead and return to the course content so you can kind of see how all this plays out this week. Gonna slide my head over again. My head just gets in the way. Okay, here we go. And then I'll get my screen over a little bit. Okay, so we're going to open up the summary response folder here, and this is going to be our agenda and an overview, kind of what I just told you, but in written form, maybe like more like a checklist form, and also sets the vision for the unit. So it's a good thing to look through. We're going to skip it right now since I just talked about it and go into assignment 2-1. Let me explain something that I did when I wrote the course, and this can confuse some people, but please bear with me on it. There's a method to the madness. Besides wanting to emphasize to you the importance of summary response and looking for argument and creating argument, I also want to really emphasize the importance of the whole writing process. So I may write a little bit too much to get that across. Hopefully that doesn't confuse you too much. First of all, if you were wondering where the links were, they are on this page, and if there's ever a broken link, the first thing you do is copy and paste it into your URL. It may not automatically hyperlink there, and if that doesn't work, and see, some of these aren't even hyperlinked. I see how they're set up. I see a mistake already. There are 3 addresses, not 2. Anyway, I think that I'll fix that before we have class next week, but you're responding to these articles. Okay, let's move on from there and look at the next item. That's where you find your articles you're responding to. This is the thesis worksheet activity. And this is a form that I have adapted from another textbook. And it's just kind of a template. You can find templates online. I haven't found one that I'm really super impressed with, but most students say that they struggle the most with writing thesis statements, and that's students of all levels of writing. So this is getting us some practice. And I used a topic as a sample topic in italics here from our reflection activity last week to build mine. And you can see that after each step, I have a sample response in italics, and then you add your response. You are not sharing this response with the whole class. This is just for me. I want to see you kind of move through the process. You may hate this worksheet, it doesn't work for you, or you may like it, or somewhere in between, kind of like our responses to class. But please bear with me and try it. This is just for practice. It's not going to move into a paper, but this is a resource I want us to practice using for other papers, possibly. I'm not going to make you use it for any papers. Okay, and then one more thing here. This is the part where I thought sometimes can get a little bit confusing, and this is if you're working ahead at all. Please note that I am stepping you through all of the paper process before you actually get to the assignment. So please know that I'm only having you do the response parts, not the whole paper. And this is if you're working ahead. This is for next week. I'm sorry, week 3, assignment 2-3. If we look over here, we're not doing assignment 2-3 yet, but I know that sometimes students work ahead, and I want to just give you a heads up that you're not writing the paper for 3 more weeks. I know I keep saying that. Okay, so I will correct that one error that I just found in opening it with you, and you're only doing 2 assignments this week. We're looking at 2-1 and 2-2, and I gave you a brief overview of 2-3. I'm really tired. I bet you get tired too, doing all this stuff, and I'm going to take a break now because I'm starting to not make sense. I hope you have a great week, and that if you have any questions, you give me a shout. Okay? Talk to you later.